Rule number 5, do not have a leap of over a fifth in any of the lines other than the bass. The reason why this is okay in the bass is because they have a lot of kind of octave. The bass really carries the harmonic structure, and because of this they're used to a more kind of jumpy, but jumpy in the sense that it's the right intervals, it's the same intervals. So they might have this one, go up fifth, then down an octave, up third. That's okay for a bass line. That's kind of their job, but it's not the job of the other parts to be doing something like that. Now in later writing, this is more kind of post-Bach chorale writing. You can have larger leaps in the soprano if it's a part of the melody, if it's like a characterful thing. One of the, a really good example that I like to kind of think about and use a lot is a Chopin nocturne. Now Chopin was, you know, quite a bit after Bach, and a lot had happened harmonically in this time. So, for example, the E-flat nocturne starts with etc. I won't bore you with my piano playing, but you have this, and because this is a sixth, which is quite awkward to sing. You wouldn't really want to sing a sixth like that, but as you can hear, that's a really important opening interval in the melody. You can have something like that if you're doing Bach chorale writing and it's not for an exam. If it's for an exam, definitely don't do this. If it's just for a bit of fun, if you're just exploring things, then please feel free to. Octaves are also okay. You can have or and that's not so bad. Again, kind of awkward to sing. Make sure the other parts are quite helpful in circumstances where you have to do things like that. But otherwise, what you really need to be doing is looking at your doublings and deciding, okay, is there another note I can be on here instead of jumping to a note that's quite far away? Is there a closer one that I could use? And then if, for example, that note is the third, you've already got a third, change the line that's already on the third in favour of kind of fixing your big jumpy lines. Are you having fun? I thought so. So rule number 6 is no leaps of a tritone. Now a tritone is also known as a diminished fifth or an augmented fourth. It's the interval. Now this is a very dissonant interval. It was known as the devil's interval for a long time, kind of exciting. The really weird things that medieval music and Renaissance music had. So this is really nasty to sing. It's not like a fifth or a fourth. We can kind of hear the harmonic pull where they're going, but it's again quite odd. That's the opening of The Simpsons. So that's just kind of not very good voice leading, and the way you get around this is the same as what we just had with the large intervals. Reassess what notes are happening where and try and pick a different note for that voice to go to. Rule number 7, chord 3 does not exist. It just doesn't exist. It is a figment of your imagination. Why is there no chord 3? Let's actually, you know, chord 3 does exist, okay? I'm being dramatic, but you need to act like it doesn't. And the reason is because if we think about the harmonic pendulum, which is the groupings of the functions of all of the chords in the diatonic scale, chord 3 goes under chord 1. So it functions in the same way as chord 1 as a home, instead of all of the chord 4 functions where we're kind of walking in the countryside, we're not home but we don't have a great pull to go home, or chord 5, which is okay, I want to go home now. What we have with chord 3, we are again staying C major. Chord 3 is E minor. So E is also in the chord of C, so that doesn't really want to go home. G is also in the chord of C, doesn't want to go home. The only note that's different is the B. Now the B is the leading tone, and the leading tone, as we will kind of reassess later, has to resolve upwards. It's to do with the pull. This is the note with the most pull in the scale, and it always pulls up. You can't really go. See that second one? So much more kind of deliberate direction going on there. And because of this, chord 3 can only actually go back to chord 1. So it only functions as an extension of chord 1, and because of this, it's not really recommended that you use it. Another way you can kind of avoid using chord 3 is actually use chord 1 in the first inversion. So we could, instead of have, yeah, so that second one's a lot nicer, that's a lot better. And then if the note that you're trying to harmonise is the leading tone, always harmonise this with chord 5. So, rule number 8, do not use chord 7. Chord 7 is diminished, and this is way too exciting for Bach. Look, he's practically shaking. So, as we said before, if you have the leading tone and you need to harmonise this, do not harmonise it with a chord 7, harmonise it with a chord 5. 5-7 if we're feeling cheeky, and then we can go back to 1. What you can do, again, this is for one of those situations where you're not writing a Bach chorale for an exam. If you're writing it for an exam, don't do this, because this is later chorale theory and harmonic theory as opposed to kind of early definite Bach times. But you can complete the diminished sevenths. If you have the leading tone in the melody, B, then what we could have is a D in the bass. So now we've got the full chord, but I've just spread it differently. And then this can go up here. Isn't that lovely? But again, this is later. Don't do this for any exams. Okay, so rule number 9, do not cross the parts.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad. Okay. All right, important safety tip.
So I've actually got a Bach chorale here, the first 4 bars of one, and he's been naughty. What have you done? What should be the fundamental rule of Bach chorales? Do as he says, not as he does. Bach would always fail Bach chorale class because he's just, you know, he made the rules, but he didn't exactly write them down in a kind of a here are my rules way. They are the general rules that he keeps to in his music, and it's why it's so functional, basically, and why it's so good. So we have... and then I get here, and then I have to... Now, I'm not a great pianist anyway, but and it's less to do with kind of playing this on the piano, but if we see the lines make sense, if we listen to the tenor line in isolation, it's a bit jumpy, not great, and then if we listen to the alto in isolation, but this jump down there goes over the tenor line, which is going. So they're kind of swapping, and this is very hard to sing. It's not very strong voice leading, so because of this, try and avoid it. One of the ways you can avoid it is just kind of work around it so that all of your lines stay in the right order, so I could rewrite Bach's writing here so that the alto line goes, which is okay. There's less jumps in it if we do it this way, and then the tenor line would be, and that avoids all of the which then goes there, so it does resolve even though it's an awkward jump. And just kind of sticking with, okay, can I work it so that they don't have to cross, will kind of help avoid this problem.